When you come to upload your assets to the BOAhub, start by creating asset locations. And in settings, in the second section down, we've got where these can be created. In this example, I've created 2 locations representing a branch in Silverdale and a branch in Warkworth. If you use, say, different crews instead of branches, you can create a location for every crew. So depending on how your business functions, you can create your locations to represent what makes sense to you. You can add as many locations as you like. All they need is a name and an address, and it's an attribute that down the track you can use to start looking at data per location or per crew. Now, in my assets, this is where we upload our individual assets. In this example, I have only loaded 2. However, if you had, say, 200, 300 or more assets, each asset is an individual asset card like we can see here on the screen. Now, when you come on board with the BOAhub, BOA can bulk upload your assets for you from the back end, and then you can add new assets one by one as you bring them on board into your business. So we'll just open up an example here and look at the information that's stored against an asset. We start with the asset ID, and this is the naming structure that each company gives to their assets. Each company will have a different way they identify their assets, so this is for you and your company. Then an asset serial number. Next, you've got the make and model of the asset down to the model name. In this example, we're looking at an EX100. Then the year of the asset and the current number of hours the asset's done. This here does update if you book a job from an asset and enter hours into that job. The updated hours does feed back into the asset, so you should always have, from the last service done on that job, the current hours of that asset. Then the industry which the asset is mainly used in, the location you've assigned the asset to, and the operator that you've assigned the asset to. In here, we can see an asset schematic has been populated based on that model, which is the EX100. This, over time, we are building out into a digital twin, which will drill down into the exact hose lines on that asset. And then over here to the right, you can see an individual photo of that asset, which is the one that you own. Now, we have designed this system to be a central location where you can go to and get all of your information about your asset. So we've included a section where you can upload additional files, and this might be operating manuals or service manuals or any other data that you've got on that exact asset. You can host it in the BOAhub also. So it's a one location for all information on the asset. And the other thing that we've built in here is the ability to connect assets. And this is for the scenario where you might have a main excavator, like we can see here. Then that excavator might have various different attachments that are primarily used with that machine. And each attachment is its own asset, so its own will have its own asset card. And then you can connect this asset with other assets from your company. So you can end up with quite a nice map of what all your assets are. And then if there's connections between certain assets, they can be linked in the system as well. So that's how you set up each individual asset. Then you can choose how you view your assets by setting a category here. And again, we understand that each company will have a different way they want to look at their assets. So whether it's per branch or per operator or maybe per equipment type. So this function down here basically allows you to customize the view on the main asset page and make it easy for you to find which one you're looking for. The other thing that we have in here is a print QR code button. And again, using the thermal printer, you can print a sticker for that asset, and that generates a QR code, which when you scan that QR code from the scan button on the main homepage, that can take you straight to that asset in your BOAhub. So if you've got all of your machines loaded into the BOAhub, you can print out a QR code sticker for each one, stick it somewhere on your machine, and then down the track when the different people in your company come to use that asset in the BOAhub, they can simply scan the QR code and bingo, it'll be here on your screen. So nice and easy for everyone in your team to pick up and work on the right asset. Now, once your assets are all uploaded into the BOAhub, if a repair is required, so say a hydraulic hose has blown on an asset and you need to organise a repair, you can book a BOAhub right here from the asset. And this here will, if you book a pod from an asset, this will generate a job card in the jobbing function of that company that you've booked a pod with. And it does transfer the relevant information from you, so your company name, your contact, the address here of where the job is, where the guy needs to come to do the job, an order number if you've got one, and any notes that you want to share about the job. And it also pre-populates the asset section of that job card, so it takes across the asset details, which is everything from your current asset hours through to the type of machine that you're requesting the job to be done for. And once that job is done, it is displayed here under the service history tab. So if you create repair requests from the asset and then the job flows through the jobbing process that we saw earlier in the jobbing flow, then once it's completed, the asset owner or the person who's requested the job can see all of the details of that job right here against their asset. And that means that there's complete transparency between the asset owner, right from the information that they gave when they requested the job and the date and time that that request was sent, through what that job entailed, all of those jobbing details that we looked at earlier, and then returned back to the asset owner when that job is completed. And the other thing that it does provide is over time we can start building up analytics and data around repairs per asset, and this will provide intel as to perhaps what assets are requiring more repairs than for average of that machine, or maybe for average in that industry, and it can provoke some preventative works for the asset owner to help reduce either repairs required or downtime in the future.